Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros.
It's basically set in stone, I think, that we're not looking to sign a backup, veteran backup center. So do you think that is Daryl Morey saying, look, Doc, I'm going to force you to use the guys that I drafted, whether you like it or not, to quote Doc Rivers, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that this is now the time where these guys aren't rookies anymore. They're third-year players, second-year players. And Daryl Morey's looking at what happened last season. I know at this point for a fact. This is just me, but I'm saying for a fact. Like Doc Rivers went out to Daryl Morey and said, "Go get me DeAndre Jordan." And I'm sure Daryl Morey probably looked at him like, "That's not really what I want to do, but I'll put my trust and faith up in my coach." And we see how that worked out. The Paul Reed victory tour comments, all that stuff. It was just a disaster. And Daryl Morey's a guy that listens to the pulse of the fan base. And, he's seeing some of this young athletic talent that he drafted himself. Like he came in here right away. Boom, Tyrese Maxey, Isaiah Joe, Paul Reed. The next year, Charles Bassey, Jaden Springer, Philip Petrusev. Like he's like, yo, you got to play some of these guys. Look at the landscape around the league. Look at the Celtics. Why are they developing all their first, second, and third year players and they're getting time on a championship level team? Like we need to follow suit. And I think you're right. I think Daryl Morey had enough. And he said, you know what? You're going to have to play one of these guys. I'm not getting you another center. There's just no way. And, when you look at a guy like Andre Drummond, for example, the Sixers were rumored to have interest in Andre Drummond. I thought he was going to get a starting level salary. Andre Drummond got signed for, I think it was like $3.2 million a year. Like the Sixers could have absolutely went and got an Andre Drummond back. But Daryl Morey said, nope, we're going in a different direction. You're going to have to play these guys. And we'll obviously talk about Charles Bassey, but Paul Reed and Charles Bassey probably look the best on the team. So, I mean, it's right in line there. And they have to get in the rotation, man.
Yeah, when I look at Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers, part of me can almost predict a future of headbutting. Two guys with big egos, two guys that each think they know the right way to do things, and two guys that were hired separately by Sixers ownership, not two guys that came together and said, let's go to the Sixers together. Doc got hired, and then Daryl, then Doc. I don't remember. It happened so fast, but they were separate. They didn't choose each other, is what I'm trying to say. And when you look at the history of Doc Rivers, specifically in Boston, before he got traded to the Orlando Magic for a first-round draft pick, he had disagreements with Danny Ainge and others in management about the direction they wanted to go. They were looking more analytical. They wanted to do things a certain way, and Doc was refusing, and they traded him. I could see Daryl Morey getting to the point where he's saying, listen, this is what we're supposed to do, and this guy won't do it. Help me. We got to do something. You know what I mean? And knowing the Sixers, we're probably too late to be able to trade Doc Rivers like the Celtics did and get a first-round pick back. We're probably at the end of the Doc Rivers thing in the NBA, maybe. But, yeah, I see these two guys potentially ending up disagreeing on a lot of things. Kai Carlin had a piece that he wrote, and in the article he said via a source, the opinions are not necessarily aligning on the Sixers backup center position, which tells me that somebody from inside there is leaking like, hey, Doc said this, and then Daryl was like, no, we're not doing that. And so.
Well, I mean, it's hard to really have optimism that he will and come through that, stubbornness as a coach. But like you said, at some point their heads are going to butt and something's going to happen. And I think Daryl Morey is also looking at these teams that he's put together the last couple of years, and he's saying look at the rest of the league. We should have had a chance to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. We should have had a chance to maybe get to the finals. And, time is ticking. And I feel like Daryl Morey, this is the offseason where we've been saying it for a while, but I think he's really just sitting here like, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to get us to the third round. And he's like, what's the best way to do that based on our flexibility right now? Well, I'm going to put together the team that got me there in the Western Conference Finals, and adding Joel Embiid on top of that. And
Yeah.
I just think this is an all-in type of year. And I think if Doc Rivers doesn't adapt, if he doesn't adjust, I think he's on the hot seat. I do, because we know we shouldn't have blown the lead against Atlanta, but we obviously didn't have Joel Embiid, but still the way we came out, the way we laid down and just kind of gave up and said it, we physically said it. So Daryl Morey said, okay, I'm going to go and get some dogs. I'm not going to let that happen again and let this team get embarrassed. But like you said, if Doc Rivers doesn't adapt, we might be in the same spot, and it just can't happen. We're wasting valuable years, valuable chances for this team, and it's got to
Yeah.
get better.